Hey everyone, it's Gamma. I hope you're all doing well. I was going to try and record in natural light, but there's this cat who lives on my development that I was playing with outside, and now she keeps trying to get in my flat, so I'm sort of hiding at the minute. So rather than having the curtains open, we've got to do artificial light today, but that usually works a little bit better because it sort of drowns out blemishes and stuff. Anyway, yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Another off-format video. It's not that I don't plan it, it's just I like what I'm going to talk about for videos that aren't chronicles. I mean, in the minute it is slightly hard to organise them at the minute. There's just a lot of stuff that I've been wanting to talk about recently that isn't really what I would put in a chronicle, so that's coming soon. I've got ideas for things that I want to do. These are just sort of things that come to the forefront. That and like on the day, even if I sort of have a plan, I just kind of talk about what I want to talk about on the day, just because I feel like that's like a pertinent thing to talk about. Like the fact that I finally have new hats, so I'm not wearing the same hats. I have 3 new hats, so I won't be wearing the same thing in every video now, which is pretty good. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the restrictions being lifted slightly. Not all of the way, obviously. So here in the UK, as of Monday, we are finally allowed to start doing a little bit more, start living a little bit more again. So non-essential retail open back up with certain limitations, I still think, like obviously the masks and number of people that are allowed in stores. Outdoor dining has started again, which is cool. You can basically, and you can start meeting people outside again. I think it's up to 6 in an outdoor space. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I managed to get out and experience a little bit of it during the weekend just gone. I couldn't really during the week because I was at college. So for those who don't know, as sort of part of the apprenticeship that I do, I'm working towards my foundation degree as well at the same time in digital innovation, which is really interesting. Sometimes it's a bit hard because I don't do like when I'm working at the minute, I do days on, I do days off, but I don't want to miss lectures, so sometimes it's a bit trickier. But like work, they're very understanding, so I've got that support network there, and I'm starting to get a bit more back in the groove of things a bit. So I'm taking on some more responsibility at work, which is really good, which is part of the reason I've been a bit more busy lately, or why my attention's sort of been a little bit more divided at the minute, because obviously work is one of my main priorities and I want to do really well at it. I'm hoping to, like, over the summer step back into writing a little bit more, because I have like the basis for the next book that I'd like to write. And I'd really like to have that finished within the next year or 2. I think that'd be really good. And then try and get that published. And that'll be, if I don't, I'm planning on, so with the Circle, it was always, the plan from the get-go was I'm going to publish it independently. And that was a lot of work and it was very worthwhile, but I feel like afterwards with trying to manage things, it was difficult to get it out there a little bit and connect it with the right people. I managed to in part, but I feel like using the resources of like a publishing agency will probably be the best way to go forward with any work that I do in the future. So that's the plan. I don't want to talk about it too much yet because obviously I'm a ways off from finishing, and like I say, with sort of me focusing on work at the minute, I haven't really had the time to focus in on it at the moment. But yeah, sorry. So I think I'm sort of treating this more like an update video because we, like, from watching these, you know that I've sort of had a bit of a wobbly couple of months, and I'm just sort of starting to. I have been for a little while, but I feel like I'm starting to finally sort myself out a little bit, because I feel like my ability to get things done when I'm not feeling good mentally really impacts my ability to do, like, to complete tasks and be efficient and get things done. Like I hoovered today. I organised some of the rooms. I still need to do, like, putting away some laundry and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I feel like that's always rewarding. I feel like one of my problems is, and it's probably a problem if you're suffering from mental health problems as well, is that you often become so preoccupied by the weight of all the things that need doing that you find yourself not getting anything done, and I'm really bad at that. So I, because of my memory, I have to list everything out that I need to do, which is really useful because I get that sense of achievement from ticking things off. But at the same time, sometimes just seeing it visually can make it quite stressful because, you know, you're going, oh God, I've got to get all of that done, have I? But I think the key thing to remember is you don't need to get it done right now. I think it's just trying not to panic and just, as long as you're doing something, you're working towards that end goal, aren't you? And I would also say, and this is something I'm really bad for, a piece of advice that I've read that's really good that I pass on, is to organise tasks by time sensitivity and not importance. Because I think when you're working towards a particular goal, like you might want to, we have like a set of tasks, you might immediately try and do the thing that's most important to you, which makes perfect sense, and it's going to, because that's what I do a lot of the time. But doing things as so that they're completed for when they need to be completed is the best way of doing it, because otherwise you end up like me and playing catch up with stuff which isn't good. I feel like I'm just going off on massive tangents, but I always do that. So yeah, I managed to get out this weekend. So a town, I think it's like, it's not far away. I always describe it to people who don't live in Hertfordshire as like X number of towns over, but I'm not exactly sure how many that is for St Albans. I say that for Stevenage, like somebody goes, oh, whereabouts is Stevenage? Oh yeah, it's about 2 towns over in relation to where I am, but I'm pretty sure that's not true, because I've already thought of Nebworth and Hatfield, so that's immediately wrong, and I've semi-doxed myself there, which is fun. No. So, yeah, I went over to St Albans because I had an antiques fair, which was really good. So I went to church, it's Monday today, yeah, so I went to church yesterday, and the service there was lovely as always, and what we're allowed to start doing now is after services you're allowed to congregate in small groups outside and catch up with people, which was really nice. So I sat and caught up with my granddad for a little while and just met some of the other people there at the congregation. Sorry, I don't know I've had a bit of a tickly throat the last couple of days. So that's probably why I'm a bit quieter as well, because I just had a bit of a tickly throat. I don't know why. Which is probably not good, because I'm talking about my first experience going out in public, and I don't want people to think that it's a COVID related thing, because I had this when I was there. So it's nothing to do with that, I promise. Yeah, I've just had a bit of a tickly throat the last couple of days, and I was a bit bunged up before that, so I don't think it is COVID. So I haven't been out. I'm not a super spreader or anything like that. But yeah, anyway, so there was an antiques fair sort of in the streets around the city centre of St Albans, which was lovely because for a change I didn't feel nervous being out in public. I feel like now that my immune system has recovered and we're coming out of the thick of it with COVID, I feel like it feels fine now. It feels appropriate to be out in public and mixing with people and chatting with people and just having a nice time. And it was almost like there was this universal sense of relief between everyone that was there. Like everyone just seemed so happy, and it was almost like people seemed relieved to be in crowds and see each other. And I know that sounds silly because the threat of COVID still exists, but to just be able to interact and not be isolated, I think is going to do wonders for people's mental health. I was speaking to somebody from work today actually who said that it's almost like a switch was flipped for them mentally, where their level of comfort and security, like within themselves, skyrocketed just being able to go out and see people, which I definitely empathise with, and I definitely feel the same way. I don't feel quite as risk as I did before, especially because I've had my first dose of AstraZeneca, pretty sure. I've got it here actually, I've got it in my wallet. Let me check, I do have the card. If I can't find it, because I'll probably end up fiddling around for ages, I can see it in there. Right, it's got a number on there, so I'm not going to read it out, because I don't know if that's a form of sensitive data at all, but yeah, Oxford AstraZeneca, it's the batch number. I don't know why I wouldn't want to read it, but I don't know, I'm just paranoid. So yeah, Oxford AstraZeneca. So I've had the first dose of that, and I've got the second one coming up at the end of this month. I think it's on the 28th I have it. Yeah, 28th is a Wednesday because the 30th is a Friday. So yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable in those spaces, and I got to walk around. It's really weird. St Albans is a beautiful place. Like it's a very historic town. There's a lot of ancient Roman history there, and there's a lot of old looking buildings. In parts of it, it feels more like you're walking around London, but slightly more managed. There's a little less busy. It just feels a bit more secure. And I got to walk around shops I haven't been around in ages. There's so many places that, like, I always go, oh, you don't get that around here, I've got to go into London for that sort of thing. But it's really not true. Like, there's things like a Lush, a Hotel Chocolat, Honest Burger, which is amazing. It's one of the restaurants near where I did chemo that I loved. And we sat outside and ate there, and it was brilliant. It's just nice being able to go and eat out. Haven't been able to do it for ages, and I feel bad because I'm still practicing. I'm getting better at cooking, but I'm still not great, so I feel sorry for Sean whenever I experiment trying to make something new and it just ends up not being very nice, like the other day. I'm still working on this recipe I have for like a Moroccan lemon chicken, not Moroccan, Mediterranean lemon chicken, and I can't quite get the consistency right because it uses cream. I think it just needs to reduce for longer, so I always put in the pasta way too early, so I feel pressured to take it off. I don't know, I'm just going on about random stuff at the moment. I'm just in a good mood. There were all of these stalls sort of lined up, and you had the clock tower in the middle. I stopped off and looked at the comic book store there. That reminds me of something that I wanted to talk about as well. And there were all of these stalls with antiques. I've got the two things that I grabbed. So one of the things that I got was, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's an old pair of binoculars. And I know they look quite flat at the minute. They've got inscriptions, carvings related to the landing of Columbus in 1492. And other things related to similar expeditions on the other side as well. Something cool that they do is, I don't know why this is how people used to use them, but the binoculars actually fold out. So, and then it's got the focus on the top. So I saw that and I just knew I had to have it. It's just, I don't know why, just the twisting part really just scratches a niche in my head. Yes, I'm a child, I know that. And I got this interesting little container. So it was when I was paying for the fold out. Sorry, I would take another take, but I know that I'm just going to be a bit wheezy throughout all of these. So this small little container, I don't know how well you can see it there. I'll probably just throw my camera off focus, so I'm sorry about that. But it needs a bit of cleaning up. I might see if there's like a place that does restoration or something like that. It's a pillbox that has the Masonic logo on, which I found really interesting. I find that sort of thing really interesting. I saw it when I was going to pay for the binoculars. So we got those, wandered around the shops, had some food out, was chatting to the waiter. He was really funny. I didn't catch his name. I really wanted to ask him what his name was, so I could leave a nice review, but he was being really nice, sort of asking what we had planned, and he told me I didn't have to do housework this weekend. Guy at St Albans Honest Burger, I love you. So that was the other thing I wanted to mention. So I also got out recently, before that, up to Stevenage, because the comic book store and the trading card place that I play Friday Night Magic at reopened recently. And I haven't been up there for ages, but I would really say that now is... I know that with everything being shut and with everyone stuck inside, it's been really tricky to get out and support local businesses, and I understand that obviously it's been convenient and safer to rely on huge companies like Amazon, which is fine. I'm not part of the party that gets annoyed at people for shopping with big companies. If it's the affordable and convenient way that you want to do your shopping, then every power to you. But I like, where I can, when it comes to things like my hobbies, I prefer to purchase from local businesses. Limited edition in Stevenage, where I get all my comic books from, and then Lost Ark in Stevenage, where I get all my trading cards from. And they're both absolutely awesome places. So I went out and I got the first book of Deceased, or like DC East, which is the DC comic book about like their characters turning to zombies. And I went and got a couple of pop vinyls, which is sort of a given for me at this point, and a bunch of packs of Magic the Gathering, and I've got my pre-order for Strixhaven coming up this week, so I'm very excited about that. I'm getting my first pre-built Commander deck that I'm actually going to use. So sort of off camera, I have like a shelf that's like my Magic the Gathering vault, and I have not much, but it's building up, it's getting there, like a vault of some sealed product, one of which being a Commander deck. I can't remember the exact name of it. I know it's a really cool one. I'll have to share the name. Once I finish recording, I'll share the name of it, and I'll mention it in the description. Yeah, so I'm actually going to use the Commander deck I'm getting this weekend. But yeah, I think it's really important. I feel like the economy's been waiting for a boom. I feel like people have had a lot more unutilized spending power with the pandemic going on, and I feel like with everything that's gone on, now is, for those who are able to, the perfect time to sort of treat yourself and get out there and just go nuts, man. That's what I'm gonna do. Like within reason, I'm just gonna, like me and Shayla, are going on the paranormal tour around the UK this year, and I'm probably gonna try and figure out some other wacky stuff to do. I'll go and like glamping in Norfolk with a few of my mates and stuff. I feel like this summer is gonna mark like a pretty big achievement for us, not just as individuals but as a society. I feel like we underplay like the strength it's taken for people to reach this point, and not everyone's made it this far. So I feel like simply by being here, you've achieved something and coping with this, because it's when I was ill, it's a lot of this, like I see a lot of parallels between what's happened recently and when I was ill. So there was a lot of isolation. I couldn't go out, I couldn't interact with people that I cared about as often as I did. I couldn't engage with my hobbies or things that I enjoyed doing. And in the case of people who contracted COVID, there's a lot of similarities. It's a debilitating illness in terms of what it does to your stamina and your ability to just get out and enjoy yourself and live your life. And that's very similar to what I experienced. And it's knowing how difficult it was for me at times. I know that a lot of people right now are going to be feeling the same way. So don't underplay how well you've done just by getting to this point, really. Which I think is the note I'm going to close it on, because I don't know what I've got some like cough syrup in my cupboard or something. I was just out chatting to my neighbours, so I talk for England anyway. That's why I do this, because it's almost like like releasing the pressure, like just throwing all my words at the camera. But like, I promise I haven't got COVID. Like, for anyone who interacts with me, I promise I haven't got it. I'm just a little bit wheezy at the minute. I just get a bit wheezy every now and again. So while I was doing chemo and afterwards, I just get a little bit wheezy every now and again. Usually when it gets warmer, I get really wheezy when it gets warmer. I don't know why. Yeah, so before we hit the 20-minute mark, and I'm still talking about absolutely nothing, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that was interesting. I think I just wanted to share a bit of positivity for this video and just talk about what I've been up to. And I'm not going to hold myself to it, because if something else interesting comes up, I will talk about it. But there'll probably be a chronicle this weekend, or it usually ends up being Sunday or Monday. Usually ends up being I end up planning and recording on Sunday, and then it ends up coming out on Monday, or around midnight, because I'm an insomniac. But anyway, I hope you have a lovely evening by the time this comes out. And if you want to have a chat, reach out to me at the Gamma Stories page, or feel free to follow and engage with this video, because I really enjoy it when people do that, and I've had some interesting conversations. And yeah, I'll say goodbye on that note, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. So take care, everyone.